All right, what is up? So this is something that I've talked about in chat with people and friends online and stuff, and I haven't done a video about it. So I wanted to make a video to talk about it for anybody that misses our discussions and stuff like that. First, initially, the announcement of Diablo 3 Immortals, to me, I don't care at all. Those of you that know me know I couldn't care less about mobile gaming, and that's just for me personally. I do not do mobile gaming. I don't. When I go out, it's to run errands or whatever. I'm busy. I'm not commuting, making really long commutes at this time. And definitely, if I was somebody that had to commute a lot, I would be more interested in mobile gaming. But I'm not. I don't have. When I'm out, I'm doing things. And that's rare if I get out and do things anyways. But so mobile gaming for me could not care less at all. Um, so I'm as disappointed as everybody that there wasn't like a new PC Diablo or even a console Diablo. Um, but I certainly don't have the same reaction to other people, and I think it's because at this point I'm used to it now. At this point, I've seen it so much over the past few years now that it no longer surprises me really. You know, so and I'm glad about that. That's how we as people grow usually through experience and life and stuff like that, right? Um, but the cool thing that I thought about this game, which was really interesting to me, and what made me kind of like, why is everybody so pissy about this? Like, it's nuts because when I saw this, they showed the gameplay trailer, um, and I was looking at the gameplay, and I was like, this looks like Diablo 3. Like, it looks really good visually. Like, it looks really good for a mobile game, and mobile has come a long way. I've said this for years now, because it's when I first discovered mobile coming a long way, I was like, wow, damn, it's getting really good. The games are getting so much better. Games like Batman Arkham Blackgate, something like that. There's a few games that have really impressed me on mobile, not like a ton or anything, but there's a lot, and it keeps getting better and better and better. So and we've seen it. I mean, if as a gamer, if you have not seen things go mobile, you're being ignorant, or like you just are, right? Like you haven't paid attention, right? Because it's like mobile, whatever, screw mobile, who cares? I mean, gives a crap about mobile. But there is a huge mobile audience, so like I said, I've gotten used to it now. So as disappointed as I wasn't angry about it. Like I was like, damn, I really wish this would have been a Diablo 2 remastered, and I actually expected it to be a Diablo 2 remastered too, because my buddy Electrolysis, as we were talking about BlizzCon in Discord, and he said something. I think he had mentioned the fuck is it called? Warcraft 3 remastered. Sorry, I never got into Warcraft like hardcore or anything. I know it, but anyways, so Warcraft 3 got remastered, right? And we knew that. We kind of saw that coming. I'm pretty sure they announced it before. I can't remember. It might have been rumors. I don't remember the whole story, but so that was officially announced and shown off and stuff. But so when Electrolysis reminded me about the remastered thing, I was like, oh man, so this might be Diablo 2 remastered. Like I wouldn't be surprised at that point when he reminded me about that, because it has been talked about over the past couple of years. Diablo 2 remastered. It's been brought up a bunch. Um, so once I was reminded about that, I was like, all right, it's going to be Diablo 2 remastered. I didn't expect them to do a Diablo 4. I think, like, I just, Diablo 3 has been out for several years now, but with the huge gap between Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, I kind of didn't expect them to jump into part 4 so quickly. If anything, I expected another expansion for Diablo 3, not a part 4. I don't know, that was just my brain. That's the way I was thinking. So because of that, I was expecting it to just be like a Diablo 2 remaster, which would have been cool. Um, but anyways, so definitely disappointed. But it's just funny to me, especially because if you looking at the game, like just looking at the gameplay trailer, I'm like, wow. If I played mobile, I would play that. If I was a mobile gamer, I would definitely play that. One of the arguments that people make, they're immediately like, no, microtransactions, no, it's going to ruin everything. And to me, that's funny, because that's what I think about the gaming industry as a whole right now is DLC, microtransactions, season passes, fuck you. And that's how I feel. So to me, microtransactions on mobile games are the same thing. Like it's the same thing to me. And there might be more microtransactions, but it's the same friggin' thing. So I think it's really funny when people are making that argument. To me, it's funny when people are like, oh, it's going to be ruined by microtransactions. I'm just, in my mind, I'm like, you mean like every other game that comes to PC and console right now these days? Like it's really rare for a game not to have DLCs. Spider-Man's one of the best games ever that I've played in a long time. It's nothing super unique, but it, has DLC. Red Dead Redemption 2. So single player is probably never going to get DLC unless it gets a story. Maybe we'll see. But multiplayer is going to come out, right? Like apparently, and of course that's already been discussed. People are like, Red Dead Redemption 2 is of course going to have microtransactions. So, and I've already seen an article like in this day and age when you don't need DLC to sell stuff, and it's true, right? But of course these companies want to make money. It makes sense. Anyways, so God of War, one of the best games ever made, doesn't have DLC at all, right? Horizon Zero Dawn had one. A game like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, that's a smaller title, but no DLC, and it's awesome, right? So anyways, to me, the whole argument about microtransactions, I'm just like, that to me, I think DLC, Season Pass, it's the same thing. So it doesn't bother me so much. And I get it. Especially, like, I've played years of free-to-play games, so I know bad microtransactions when I see them, and I don't play those games, and I don't recommend them. That doesn't mean the game itself is bad. The game by itself, if you take out the cash shop, you're like, all right, this is a pretty cool game, but the reason I don't play it is because this cash shop is really intrusive, it makes it uncomfortable, and I don't want to play it because of that. And that happens. And then there are the good free-to-play games. So I'm not sure, I don't know if they're making Immortals free-to-play or anything, and, we still don't know exactly how the microtransactions are going to go. Whatever, I'm sure it'll piss people off no matter what. I mean, I get pissed no matter what at DLC and all that stuff. I get really mad. I get mad at games like Fortnite with $20 for a single costume skin. $20 for a single costume skin. I played Marvel Heroes. I loved Marvel Heroes, and they had outrageous prices as well. The difference was if you grinded a lot in that game, you were able to unlock pretty much everything. I think it was like almost 100% of what was in the cash shop. If you liked that game enough to keep playing it, you could unlock everything that was in the shop, pretty much. And so that's a pay model I can support. I gave those people money. I bought stuff because I was like, you're going to really? Like, all right, this is a game I can back. But a game that just pushes all this bull crap out at ridiculous prices, that makes me sick. So anyways, that's a whole nother thing. I could make a video and ramble about that in general by itself. I meant to just stick to Diablo, but, stuff's related. So another thing that I thought was funny about the BlizzCon, and that's been clipped and people sharing it and ranting. I don't remember the guy's name. I didn't study this stuff. I'm just talking about it, So the guy who announced Immortals was on the stage. The clip about where he said, "Don't you guys have phones?" I thought that was super funny, and of course, this was from my point of view. When I hear that, like, that's bad. Like, that's not the way as a professional, like, presenting your game. You don't want to respond like that, right? But he was put on the defensive, and you could tell immediately. You can tell, like, this is the same reason why everybody's so upset. Like, we didn't want a mobile Diablo. What the frack, So that was a defensive response. That's how I see it. From the way I said it, I'm like, oh man, that was a mistake, but he got put on the defense, and that sucks, And I think part of that is because I expect even with the greed in the business and the industry and all that, the people who make these games and work on these games and do this stuff, they care about what they're doing, right? I think most people, now of course there are cash grabbers and all that, and, that's a whole other comment. But I like to think about the people that, like, look, we care about this, and then you go and turn around and be like, fuck you to my face, and you spit in my face when I'm trying to present something that I think is great to you. So I just thought that was really funny. That it was a bad response, but it's also kind of true, right? It's. I mean, I don't have a mobile device at all. I mean, my only mobile device is my Nintendo Switch, and I play that docked. I've played maybe an hour at the most, probably a half hour of my Nintendo Switch mobile, and that was just at home to just see what it was like on the screen, on the small screen. I just was like, let me see. I'm in bed. Let me play whatever. I could play it in bed on my TV. So. But the way that the industry is going in general for gaming and mobile is huge. It just keeps growing. More and more and more and more. So I think this is really cool for anybody that would be a Diablo fan that does mobile game. It looks really cool. That was another thing. People were comparing this to I was talking about the phone thing. I just thought that was funny. It's kind of like when I get surprised when people don't have the internet, or when they're in places of the world that have, like, I have not the best internet, but I know that I have much better internet than other people in the world. So it's the same thing. Like, don't you guys have mobile devices? Like, yeah, it was just the wrong audience, and it was on the defensive side, and it was just a mistake that he made. It was a mistaken response being put on the defensive of this product that they're trying to announce and stuff, so whatever. So that was just a mistake, man. That's so funny. So another thing is they were comparing this. Apparently, the one of the mobile teams that's working with Blizzard to bring this to mobile is known for doing other ARPGs as well on mobile. And a lot of people are making comparisons, and they're like, "Oh, this looks exactly the same. It's just a reskin." And in my brain, I'm like, when you play an action RPG, they're all pretty much a reskin, right? It's a different characters, different stories, different spells, but it's an action RPG game. It's that top down action RPG game, right? Um, and it's like, and when I heard that, it's like, this is just a reskin of this game or whatever by these same devs or whatever. But this is why it throws me off, because when I saw this trailer, when I saw this gameplay, I was like, this looks almost exactly like Diablo 3 to me. And I've got I've got a few hundred hours played on Diablo 3, right? Like, and that's casually playing it. So when I saw this, I was like, wow, like this looks pretty freaking cool for Diablo on mobile. Like, damn nice. And if another game looks like it, that's just because there are similarities between games. It's the same thing between like any third person shooter game that you played that's plays similarly, you know. Like, you could call any game a reskin of another game. You could do that about any, and there are extremes, of course there are extremes of that where you could really do that, you know. Especially if you're upset about what's been announced, and if you could really nitpick and be like this and this and this and this, and, you know. But basically overall, any genre that you're playing is a reskin of another. It's an improved upon, you know, enhanced and stuff like that. So to me, I just don't think that's a great argument. I don't, the whole reskin thing, especially because when I saw this, like I said, and I saw the other game, I watched the comparison. A friend of mine, Medvev, had shared me the Reddit post linking to the other game that's supposedly like this is a reskin of and stuff. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, there are similarities, yes. But compare any of these games to each other, and there's going to be similarities, you know? And of course, it also makes a little more sense when it's the same mobile developer kind of a thing, right? Like, of course, but I don't know. To me, I think people have taken it to the extreme, especially because to me, it's very clear that you can see Diablo 3 in this game. You can see it. And I also think it's cool. I think it's interesting that it's a story between part 2 and part 3. Like, that's interesting. It's very likely I will never touch this game. Now, if they had actually ported this as well onto PC, then yeah, I would check it out. You know, I don't know how much of it I would play, right? Even when cool mobile games come to PC, there's little things. I can't remember at the moment. It's been a couple years since I played one, but there have been a couple games that were mobile and came to PC, and I was like, wow, this is cool. You know, I like it, but I didn't play like a whole crap ton of it or anything. I have too many games as it is already that are, you know, bigger titles and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really spend a whole lot. But I really do think Immortals looks pretty cool. So if I did mobile, I would play it. I would. I'd be all over it. The funny thing to me, and another thing that added, it's kind of a side effect as well with the disappointment of this mobile game being announced, is just the fact that they also just released Diablo 3 on the Switch. You know, I was like, isn't that mobile enough, you know? But no, not of course everybody that has mobile devices doesn't also have a Switch either. So it's just a bigger audience that they're going for. That's all. Of course, a huge part of that is money. Of course, right? I'm not denying that. But that doesn't mean the game's gonna suck, you know. And this is the thing that people get into, like, oh, they just want money, so the game's gonna suck. It's business is business, man, and I don't like it either. Like, it's like I said, I could make like probably a 20-hour video just rambling about DLC and season passes and microtransactions and my ideas that I have that I feel would make them better, you know. But whatever, it's the industry where, and that's to me I've kind of given up on it. I've given up hope on the industry. Gaming, like, I love the video games, but I've given up any hope on these guys actually caring, or not caring, but just not going out of their way to continue to suck the money out of us. So I've given up on any hope of that, and it surprised me. Like I said, with the God of War game, and there are some games that launch, and they're excellent. They're truly amazing, and they, you know, even if they do have DLC, the game by itself was amazing, right? That's rare though. Pretty much every game these days, even indie games, man, even indie games now launch with DLC and season passes. Pre-order our season pass for a fucking indie game, dude. Like, really? So again, this is just part of that whole thing where when people are really trashing this on, oh, it's just gonna be microtransactions, like, you know, that's everything right now to me, in my mind, when I'm just like, well, how many times do you see a game launch right now that doesn't include this kind of crap? You know what I mean? So anyways, So I don't know. I think a lot of the reactions are extreme, and it makes sense. Like I said, it makes sense that people are pissed. Like I would love I would love a Diablo 4. Oh my gosh, I would love it. I would love a Diablo 2 remastered. Sort of. I would definitely want to form. Look. I played Diablo 2 for 5 years. I played Diablo 3 for a couple years, um, and I like Diablo 3 more than 2. That's my personal thing. I remember. I know all the arguments people don't like between 2 and 3. I think 3 is a better game, much improved. But we all have our own taste, or stuff like that. So, but I would still, if a Diablo 2 remaster came out, oh, I would, I'd play it. Oh, hell's yeah, you damn right I would. Um, but anyways, so we got a mobile game, and I'm happy for the mobile players. I am. As if these guys don't normally play on a console, PS4, Xbox, or PC, I was happy to see. Apparently, I didn't even realize this. Apparently, when Diablo 3 came from PC to console, people threw a fit about that too. I just read that while catching up on this news with the people being upset about this and stuff, and I was like, really? Because I didn't really catch on that when that happened. I thought it was cool, but I had played Diablo 2, or was it Diablo 1? I think it was Diablo 1. Might have been Diablo. No, yeah, it was Diablo 1 on PlayStation. I don't know. Did you guys ever play that? If you're as old as I am, you might have. And if you're a big fan of Diablo, like I played Diablo on PC at first. Before I even had my own PC, the reason I got my own PC was because of Diablo. I love that game. I fell in love, and I had to get my own PC because of that game. It was the first time I ever got a PC. But before that, I was playing Genesis and Super Nintendo and all that, and PlayStation. And then so later on, I'd played Diablo on PlayStation 1. And I remember thinking in my head, there's no way they could put a game like this on console. Like, the controls, how would they do that? You can't do that. It's impossible. But they did it, and it was freaking awesome. And I'm talking about Diablo 1 on the PlayStation 1. It was really well done. So when they did it for Diablo 3 and put it on PS4 and Xbox One, like, I have not played them. But when I saw them visually, it's really. I don't know if you played this. I don't know if you saw them when they put Diablo 3 off on console. The interface was actually nicer than PC's, in my opinion. It looked sharp, not sharp. It just had different effects, different visual stuff that I preferred, that I liked, and it just looked neat. Eventually, later on, that they did update PC to have that same kind of interface, and I was like, oh man, because it took them a while too, and I think it's probably maybe some time that they were porting it over and making sure things worked. I don't know what took them so long. PC did not get that update for a long time. The console had a completely different interface, not like majorly drastically, but it was different enough to notice it, right? And I was like, dude, I would rather play that on console because the interface to me looks nicer. But yeah, so anyways, and you hear it all the time, like a game, like it's hard to imagine, especially when you play a game on PC for years, and you're so used to that mouse keyboard, and you also maybe you play it on a controller or whatever, and then you think about it, like I remember like when I played Diablo on PlayStation to try it out, I was surprised, I was shocked that it was playable and how they did the controls and stuff, and of course it's easier to play on PC, but they did a really good job putting on the controller. So that was really cool. And the same thing with like Final Fantasy, for example, the MMO, not the regular Final Fantasy, the MMO, Final Fantasy 14, an MMORPG with tons of hotbars and all kinds of crazy crap that you got to control with your controller that you normally would be on a mouse and keyboard. Beautifully done on a controller. Wonderful, like super great. And of course, again, it would be better to play it on a mouse and keyboard. It's easier, smoother, and stuff. But for a controller scheme, well freaking done. So I rambled a bunch, but this is something that I think is interesting, and I did ramble too much about this, but it's something that I like to talk about. I love to talk about this stuff, and I had a lot of thoughts on this, and there's probably gonna be more that'll hit me after I end this video and go upload it and stuff. I'm like, damn it, I should have said this. But I think I've got everything covered at the moment. So again, I've been talking about it here and there, and I've seen comments from people, and it's made me laugh a lot. But I think part of that is, again, so this at the beginning, I think it's mostly because at this point I'm used to it. I've been through it enough. But my first time experiencing a disappointment like that, trust me, I was up in uproar just like everybody else. I was like, you must same kind of reaction. So I've been there, so I know, and I don't blame people for being that way. It's just, this is my reaction now, later on, having been through it enough times to sit back and be like, all right, well, that sucks, but whatever, cool for those other people that will enjoy it, and again, I think this looks really cool. I would play. It looks like Diablo 3 to me. It looks really good. So that's why when I first saw it, I was like, all right, I get it, guys, I get it. It sucks that it's not for us. I mean, they said they already said, look, we have no plans to bring this to PC, and that was the coffin, the nail in the coffin, right? Because it was like, all right, we don't want a mobile game, but sure, let us play it, whatever. If we're on PC, we're not going to play mobile, but at least let us play it. And they were like, no, and you're like, what? If you could put this on mobile, surely you can put it on PC, right? And of course, that would be a port. That reminds me, actually, one quick thought before I go. It's all interesting and I don't know, whatever. But one thing that I thought after I was talking about Diablo 3 going from PC to console was when I saw that, I was like, oh man, I really hope they add controller support to PC. Not because they need to, but because it would be another option. It would be really cool as an option to have. Especially for someone who recently, in the past few years, got back into console gaming and enjoys the controller more and, whatever. It would have just been a nice option. They were like, no. They never did it. Diablo 3 on PC still does not have controller support. And it's not a big deal. I'm not going to go scream at them, but I would definitely like to see that, and I just think it's kind of weird that they just flat out denied it. And there might be some really hardcore technical issues about it. I don't know, whatever. But so the same thing with this one, which does suck. It's kind of interesting. I mean, I would think, especially, well, I'm about to ramble on to a whole nother discussion again, talking about Facebook games compared to mobile and stuff, because a lot of mobile games actually at some point were on Facebook as well. And eventually got taken off Facebook. And I think it's because of stuff that changed with Facebook. I don't know for sure, but there used to be some really cool games on Facebook, and then that kind of stopped. I don't know if they even still do gaming stuff on Facebook anymore. But anyways, I'm done rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think if you want. And if there's enough discussion, if you remind me of anything more to add, I might make another video. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.